What's up, y'all? Still working out on this Make It Happen Mondays. So I'm gonna hopefully do 2 videos by tonight. Get something posted. And so, RobVtv. I like the intro. I don't know, I think it's kind of lazy, because I'm sure I could find some that fit, but sometimes I think that pretty much works out for me. So I'm kind of lazy like that. I am going to share something that I wanted to share. This is something that I actually read on Monday that I didn't get a chance to share with y'all. And God's been working on me in a lot of different ways and a lot of different facets. So I've been going through things. Last week I wasn't really going through things until Sunday, so to speak. Or I guess, well, the weekend, but I don't really share that much about our personal life, but I'd say I'm definitely going through it in my life, and you know, it's a certain thing that will make you cry, a certain thing that will make you, I don't think question God, but question your life in general. And I can't speak that much about it. Wild, how you say, wild discussion. Let's put it to you that way. Wild discussion. I can't really share that much, so I'm kind of withholding a little bit. So until the time comes, or until I'm ready, or until there is a resolution. So right now, I just want to share with y'all something that I really God's been really giving me a little bit more understanding when it comes to His Word. I've been in a sort of fighting for my relationship type mood. So especially with God, I've been really praying more or less in the mornings, and try to pray for direction, try to pray for what moves should I make in regards to our church, in regards to just a lot of different things, I'd say, and trying to move past just the religious and trying to be consistent. And so my next video is going to be about consistency. So let's get into it. It was a word that touched me, and I didn't get opportunity until this Monday to share it. The word is Luke 17, and this is a story about the 10 lepers. And so I'm just going to read it to you guys, and then I'm just going to go into it, what God told me, and how I got to, how I was working out on working out Monday. So it's Luke 17. Let's see. I'm going to read from verse 11 to, I think it's 19. And the 2 verses that I'm going to be speaking on is 15 and 16. And so, or I guess 14, 15, and 16, I think that make more sense. So, words read in Luke 17, verse 11. It says, and it came to pass, as he went to Jerusalem, that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. Basically, at a distance. Of course, leprosy is a serious disease. And so, it says, and they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go shew yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. 15, it says, and one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, and with a loud voice glorified God, and fell down on his fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. And Jesus answering said, Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? There are not found that returned to give glory to God, save this stranger. And he said unto him, Arise, go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole. And that's Luke 17, 11 through 19. And the verses that I want to speak on is, which I guess if I read a little bit about it, I probably wouldn't be so surprised at what I'm about to tell you guys. And it says, he went to Jerusalem, and then he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And we know Galilee is a holy place. It's one of the special places I believe God visited more than once, actually. But let's see, we're going to read, because I don't like okay, so I know it's something biblical in regards to Galilee, but what I'm going to focus on is the 10. And it's something important about the 10 lepers. There's something more important about that one. And the Bible says that as he entered into the certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which are really sick people, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voice and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. So, the first thing they did was acknowledge Jesus. And they called him Master. And then they said, have mercy on us. So, you called him by name. And then, if you are saying Master, you are submitting yourself verbally to someone. To say Master means, and those is basically, you are accepting and acknowledging the fact that he is higher than you. And it says, and when he saw them, he said unto them, Go shew yourselves unto the priests. He told them to do something, which is, different from, I would say, most of the time that he's healed someone. Because it's kind of like, go see someone else. So it says, Go shew yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. But it says, and one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back. So you mean to tell me 10 people first said Jesus, said his name, submitted unto him, and then have mercy on us. Ask for mercy, because it's kind of like you all know what they did to have leprosy. But it's funny how he basically told them to see someone else. And as they were heading out to see the priest, they were healed. Only one paid attention to his healing. I find that interesting because, you know, when you are sick, let's say you had a cold or the flu, and your nose is running, and you're sneezing and you're coughing, you have all this mucus. The minute that something stops, the minute that you can breathe, it's so easy for you to acknowledge, because then you feel better. You feel like there's hope in your healing. But it says that they were cleansed. That as they went, they were cleansed. And then to give you a further description of what kind of cleansing it was, it says, and one of them, when he saw that he was healed. So the cleansing mean the washing of the issue, the washing of your problem and what you asked God for. And he was the only one that noticed. And I know most people will basically say that this scripture is more about Jesus and how you do things without needing appreciation. You're supposed to do them, which is definitely something that I learned, I would say, yesterday, about doing things unto God and not unto man, and not needing appreciation, doing them from the bottom of your heart because you really want to, and it's so hard for you to do. But I wanted to focus on the fact that these men, their healing did not come the way that they expected it to. And I'm talking about the 9. It mustn't have came in the way that they expected, because they did not pay attention to their healing. Can you just imagine like where your mind must be that you don't notice that, you know, your sores are gone, that your pain is gone, that your scars and like your marks on your body are gone. And let's look up leprosy. Let's see how bad leprosy is, because I like taking things, you know. Let's look up the word leper. I don't know what that means. It says a person suffering from leprosy. Okay, we knew that. Person who is avoided or rejected by others for moral or social reasons. That's very interesting. Leprosy, a chronic curable infectious disease mainly causing skin lashings and nerve damage. It is medically treatable. Let's see. Is it contagious? Let's see. We're going to look up facts. Okay, it says most people will never develop the disease even if they are exposed to the bacteria. So it's not, even though something else. It said Wikipedia said most colonies have closed since leprosy is not very contagious. Leprosy has been associated with social stigma for much of history. Okay. But it also says Hansen's disease, also known as leprosy, is a long-lasting infection, was once feared as a highly contagious and devastating disease. It is one of the least contagious infectious diseases known. But it does say, it does say that at one point in time it was believed to be very contagious, which is very interesting. It is one of the least contagious, and then it says long-lasting, and was once feared as a highly contagious and devastating disease. And I think that believing that it was such a contagion or such a social thing, I think, or for moral or social reasons. So basically, you're doing something wrong, and that caused you to have leprosy. So it's two things that you have to be mindful of. I'm sure at those times that it was a very came with a stigma that you were morally dirty, and that you were contagious. Obviously, that's why it says they still far off. They're just like, nope, don't come near us. But let's go back to the real part. It says, when he saw that he was healed. And to me, like I was telling my brother, Cam, from, from Lacey B TV. But I forgot their show. But I'm going to tag her in it so you can see what I'm referring to. But it says, when he saw that he was healed, he turned back. And so, I'm going to try to cut this to 20 minutes. And the thing just died. So, just going to have to, not wing it, but cause I know what I'm talking about, but I guess really speak from the heart. So, the 10, the 9, were not focused on God. I say that because to verbally submit yourself to someone is different from actually committing to action. And so having the 9 is kind of like they're still in their funk. They're still in their situation. And I was telling my boy that I feel as though they knew Jesus by reputation. Meaning that they know him by his action, but they really didn't grasp or understand the work that they had to do. It's easy for someone to say master and good and, to call somebody boss, or it's kind of like to encourage them, but it's like flattering words almost. You can't commit them to action. And so what I wanted to basically talk about was how certain things does not come as the way that we want them to. So, for instance, I was telling my wife and other people, it's funny how, and people are saying, be careful what you pray for. But it's not only that, it's like praying for a car. And in your head, you have a precise car that you want. But all you've been praying for is, God, give me transportation. God, give me a transportation. God, give me a breakthrough. God, change the situation. Or, God, heal me. But the way that it comes, you're not open to the way that the help comes. So, if you pray for a car and God gives you a hoopty, then you're upset at God. Like, God, you didn't answer my prayer. Yes, he did. He answered your prayer to your detail, which was you wanted a car and God gave you a car. Same thing if you wanted a man or a woman and you say, God give me a man. Okay, but you didn't specify what kind of man or what kind of woman that God should give you. You just asked out of desperation. And one thing about desperation is God will answer your prayer because he's not a man that he shall lie, the son of man that shall repent, and his word will go out and set what it was accomplished what it was set out to do. And when anything you pray believing that it should come to pass, it will surely come to pass. But you have to be open to how that package comes, how that breakthrough comes, how that healing comes, because a lot of times we get so swept up in the resolution that we forget the process. We forget a lot of things that are detrimental to our lives. For the 9, it was healing. For the 10, it was healing. But with the 9, they failed to notice. A lot of times we fail to notice the blessing. We fail to notice the breakthrough. We fail to notice the change in us. The change that we ask God for specifically. What happened to us that we are so blinded by other situations, by other things, that we lose sight of God? And that's basically what happened. They lost sight. They just said Jesus. They called him by name. Then they called him Master in submission. And then they said, have mercy on us, which is humility. But they didn't come to the realization that they had to commit to action those words. And the 1 said he turned back. And what it reminds me of is the transition from sin to righteousness. Because he turned back, he looked back and he acknowledged, and he put his face at his feet and gave thanks. These are steps that I believe that we need to take as Christians, because it's one thing, it's asking God for something, but then acknowledging that he gave it to, acknowledging that he changed you, acknowledging that there is a testimony in the middle of your test, that there is a message in between your mess, and all these things that occur that you need to pay attention to, because these are things that God is trying to get you to mean what you say. Your words have power. When you say Jesus and when you call him Master and when you say have mercy on us, you need to be real and you need to be honest, because there is something that is to be taken serious that God will test you on. So it's almost like you tested Jesus. You said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. If anyone can heal us, it is you. I trust based on your reputation that you are a healer. But they didn't really have a faith in Jesus, it seemed like. Because when you have a faith in Jesus, a true foundation, you be like that 1. You look for your blessing. You look for your breakthrough. You look in anticipation and expectation of a move of God once you ask. And he was ready. And then he turned back. So he stopped going the way that he was going. He stopped going to sin. He would stop going back to his situation and back to his frustration. He stopped going back to his sickness, his immorality. He stopped going the way that leaded to damnation. And he turned back. And what that symbolizes to me is repentance. He turned away from the frustration and irritation of his life. He turned back from sickness, from religion, and turned to relationship. And then it says that he fell paraphrasing, he fell at his feet. So he truly submitted when he said master, he really meant it. Jesus wasn't just reputation to him. It was a real tangible thing. It was a realness about his faith, and then he put his face to his feet. He submitted, and then he thanked God. He thanked God for the testimony. He thanked God for the breakthrough. He thanked God for the healing that took place. And none of us, we don't even notice. It is clearly a separation between the 9 and that 1. And then it ended with saying he was a Samaritan. And looking at the history of a Samaritan, because I was just like, what is a Samaritan? And looking back when it says that he went to a certain village through Samaria. And in the Old Testament, the Samaritans were very specific. They were half-breeds of Jews. They were like, it was crazy because they deliberately rebelled against God. They deliberately didn't like David as being king. They deliberately had interrelationship with pagans and with Gentiles. They purposely did it. They purposely rebelled against God. And they became half-breeds of the ungodly, mixing with the righteous, the people that were supposed to be called. And they gave up their right for Jesus to come through their bloodline because of their rebellion. They gave up their right to be close to God and fell away. And it's like they ran. I mean, no matter what God did, they ran away from God purposely. And yet and it says that in the history, the Samaritans hated the Jews, and because they were once Jews. So they hated them, they were rivals. And it's funny how you see that the 9 was of total different, because it didn't say the 10 Samaritans. It said 1, he was a Samaritan. He had a long history of rebellion, a long history of cursing God, mocking him, mixing with the unrighteous and being dirty and filthy. Like, if anything, he had the most history to have leprosy. But it was him that humbled himself the most and submitted to God. It was a person with a rough history, a rough background, a history of rebellion and violence and mixing with the dirt, the unclean, that is striving to be clean. And I think that is something to be said about that. That the 9 weren't even Samaritans, but their sickness brought them together. And it was their faith that separated them, that tore them apart. And there's a lot of messages within this message and a lot of messages within the 10. But the most important thing that I want to get across is, let's be that 1. Let's be that chosen. Let's be that few. That many are called but few are chosen. Let's be that 1 to strive to get closer to God, to have a real relationship and acknowledge what He has done in our life. And bring that back into remembrance. I'm sorry, I promise y'all no editing, that it would be straightforward, so that's what I'll do. But I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for being a part of this movement. So, from love to love. Peace.